All right, welcome everybody. This is part two of our foraging discussion. I hope that you had a chance to take a look at part one with our friends and sisters from Idaho. This was just, there's so much information, as I'm sure you know, we can share, we can go on, and we are going to do some things in the future, but I wanted to break this up in kind of sizable bites so that you wouldn't be sitting there for so long. And I wanted to give Faye a chance to talk a little bit more about the area that she's in. But before we do that, I have to remind you to please like, subscribe, share, comment. And if you haven't joined us over on Facebook, we have our Worldwide Academy Training Services Emergency Preparedness group. It's a private group where you can share your information that, find out some more information from people who are sharing, and also our Worldwide Academy Training Services page on Facebook and on Instagram. I do think in the future, we're probably going to have to eventually move over to Rumble or any other different channels that we can get this information out. Like I said, really feel it's a really important time to be able to get information into people's hands for the times that are coming. And we need your help. We really do. We as Thurston and I tell you every time on these broadcasts, we are not making we're not making tons of money doing this stuff. We have been called to do this and to get the information out. If you do feel as though you might want to contribute to that, again, like, subscribe, share, get the information out, comment. But also, if you feel like you'd like to make a donation, you can do that at our on our website, worldwideacademytrainingservices.org, and you have to spell it all out. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that, but there is a donate button there, and we would be very, very grateful and thankful for that. So, all right, foraging part two with my dear friend and sister Fava Marie. So,
hello everybody.
All right. So we talked in the last segment. You mentioned about the book that you had. I have a few books that I bought, and um, you know, again, we talked a little bit about just the similar things that we have between North Idaho and here in Pennsylvania. But I think Faye has some other things that she wants to present to us. So, and you did give your story, but can you just real briefly, since it's a set part two and maybe people didn't watch part one, give us a little background on yourself again, the foraging.
I'm Fava and I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania, and foraging has been part of my life ever since I was a little girl, although I didn't really get into it till I was really in my 20s and had a health crisis. But way back when I was little, my grandmother was making thieves oil during the Spanish flu, and that stuck in my head. And then when I was in my late 20s, I went through a health crisis and I got that book, The Maker's Diet. So after that, and I've married into a family where we jar and we can and we do some gardening. So that helped with everything I was learning. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the herbs and some of the plants and the edible wild plants that we can get in Pennsylvania. Because I do believe many of you know about honey, that if you have allergies, you should get the honey from your area. Well, I believe the same thing goes with like wild edible plants. If you have a health crisis, try to get the things from your area. I mean, you can always buy from other places because like a lot of people work, but for the most part, if you have somebody in your area or you're able to do this yourself, it's a great thing to learn. And the first thing I'd like to tell you about is pokeweed. And there's a funny story behind it. Would I be able to share the screen, Donna, or can you share it?
It should be okay because I think I set it up
Okay.
for you. So try it.
I'm going to try to share here.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, nope, it's not sharing.
It should be on your, are you on the
It
bottom
says
where it says share
desktop.
screen?
Yeah, it says share sound. Hold on, let me see.
Okay, yeah,
Oh, hold on. Maybe it's this. Sorry.
that's
Open,
okay. All right.
open. Okay. Oh, do you know what? It's making me open my system preferences. So I doubt that I'm going to be able to share it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's locked.
what, mine or yours? Is it on my end? Because I have
I
multiples, I have, mine is
don't know.
multiple
It says,
participants.
uh,
All participants can share.
for some reason, maybe because I have an Apple computer. Anyways,
Try it again. Can you try it again?
try it again. Sure.
Yeah, I just switched a thing around.
Okay, share. Share. It says open system preferences. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh,
You don't have just
oh,
green square share screen button on the bottom?
oh, wait a
Either.
second. I think I got it. It's asking for my password here. Okay, maybe it's gonna work. Oh, it's making me leave the meeting. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Okay.
On the bottom of your screen, your Zoom screen, do you have a share screen button, green button?
Yes, and that's what I pressed on.
Oh, and
Sorry.
that's what you pressed on. Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
It's okay. I can tell them about it. So sorry I couldn't share the pictures from my yard, but I wanted to tell you about the first thing that I thought was really interesting. There is a song, I don't remember who did the song, but it was about Poke Sally Annie. I don't know, Donna, do you remember that song when we were young?
yes. Yeah. Can you,
Well,
and I do have that picture. It's the pokeweed berries.
yeah, could you share it?
Let's see if I can share that. I pulled it up here. There we go. Should be good. It's kind of
So
small.
this is an interesting story. I had heard that song when I was young. There we go. This is Pokeweed Berries.
I'm trying to make
When
it.
I was young, heard this song, and for one of my anniversaries, then my husband and I went up to Bushkill Falls, and there was an Indian museum. There we go. Very good, Donna.
Okay.
There was an Indian museum. And in the Indian Museum, of course, they had a lot of all these edible wild plants from Pennsylvania. And one of the ones was the pokeweed berries. And I thought, oh, I always thought they were poisonous, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What it said was, depending on your weight, you could eat, one or two, depending on your weight. It could get rid of arthritis.
Oh.
So that stuck in my head. So this one year I was working nursing a lot of hours, and I had got really bad pain in my hands. Now arthritis runs in my family, that my hands were starting to swell. And we have pokeweed in our yard that comes up. And we don't get rid of it all because I just think it looks so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I thought, oh, I'm going to try one of these berries, right? And I took one, and the next day the pain was gone.
Wow.
So I thought, for me to tell other people, I thought I'm going to try two berries, right?
Uh-oh.
It was a no-no, because
Oh.
it can make you get real nauseated. And then
Mm.
you can also get like, it's more like a kind of high type of thing. I thought
Okay.
two berries was too much.
But we're not promoting that at all. So
Not promoting that. But anyways, it did help the arthritis. And a lot of people do know in Pennsylvania, when the pokeweed comes up in the spring, when it's very, very young shoots, the green part of it, it can't be over 6 inches. You can eat that in salads, and you can cook it. I mean, it's like a type of spinach. You boil it.
it's like, are
So
you talking about the like the stem part or the leaves?
it comes up looking like lettuce almost.
Oh, okay.
When it first, I mean, this is how big it gets over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But when it first comes up, it's like, looks like a lettuce.
Okay.
So it comes up real little, and then it's like a young lettuce. But
Okay.
like we talked about on the first video, you have to watch because edible plants, some look like other things. I'm not talking about pokeweed, but you have to really know what you're looking at. And so
Mhm.
you should always ask somebody that knows before doing it.
Right.
So that was one interesting thing for me about the pokeweed.
Okay.
And then Donna, if you could show the next picture. Okay, this, I'm telling you, this is like one of the best plants you can use for survival.
Oops.
It's called Rumex, or it could be, there's different kinds of Rumexes. There's the yellow dot kind. And then on our first video, they were talking about the sorrels, from different areas.
Mhm.
But you could live on this stuff. This is so high of protein,
Oh.
and other vitamins. You can take the leaves. Some of these leaves can get huge. They can get like this big, and you can stuff them like you would a haluki or grape leaves. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
you can take the seeds. These seeds will turn orange or red. I had just taken this, it's in the fall. So these seeds here can turn orange or red, what that you see on the end, and you can grind that for flour.
Wow.
There's many things we can grind for flour out in the wilderness if we don't have flour, and this is one of them. This helps diabetes. It helps coughs, colds, parasites. It can be a mild laxative, very high in vitamin A and protein. You can eat it cooked, you can eat it dried, you can eat the seeds. So it's wonderful. Everything, you can make bread out of it. You can use the young plants. You can use the older plants when they get the leaves really big. I
Now,
tell you what, this is a staple. It's one of the best staples, and it's probably in numerous states, because they talked about it as the sorrels too.
can I ask you, I see those, they look like berries there. Is that part of the Rumex or just that? See
Um,
the green one,
the purple, you mean, or the
no, there's two like green, like around here. I don't know if you could see my cursor.
oh no, that's something else.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's something else. No, it's this bigger leaf, and then
Yeah,
like
this, and then these are the seeds, right?
I'm going to show you a picture here. I don't know if anybody can see it, but see how it can get real red too,
It's
or it can
kind of
get
hard to
real
see.
orange,
Yeah.
as the fall is coming in.
Yeah, well, people can look up, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's really amazing, all
I
that you
mean,
can do.
that is a staple in itself, let me
Right.
tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, like I said, it's under a different couple names. And yellow dock is one of them too. So, but
So
that's
what
under
was
the
the, I'm sorry, what were the couple names that, there was Rumex
uh,
and
sorrels, Sorrels,
so RR
ELS.
sorrels. Okay. Also,
Could live on that. It's
that's
so
a
good.
good one to know. Yeah. Hmm.
And it also can be used for pain, like the leaves and everything. Blisters, sprains,
Wow. That's
bruises.
amazing.
So
Um,
that really is something. Do you want to go over to the next picture
well,
then?
I just have a question about this one then. So
Sure.
now so can you actually grow it yourself? Like, or you just, does it spread? Like, is there a lot of it or how do you?
It spreads by all of those seeds that come on it. Like if you don't have any in your land, you can get a piece off of somebody. Yes, it can
Okay.
spread. No, it's not real invasive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have it in a couple different spots on I have an acre, and
Mhm.
you find it in a couple different spots, but it doesn't take over things, you
Okay.
know. You could grow it, like if you were going to take some of the seeds and grow it, and then you could probably grow more than,
Okay, that's
in
good to know.
spot.
I'd like to
Yeah.
find some of that. I like to identify that. All right, let's see.
And this is
Okay,
another one that's really for survival mode. Let me tell you.
I've heard of this one too.
Yeah. The sting and nettle. There's also thistles, but this one here that I'm showing you is the sting and nettle. Mostly the thistles and the sting and nettle kind of do the same things. This nettle, it's a nettle. If you pick it and it sticks in your hand, it has those little hairs.
Mm-hmm.
So when you harvest this, you should have a glove on to harvest it. But one thing it does do, this is another thing it does. You can actually put those nettles on pain. And the first day you're going to feel the nettles, but the next day the pain's going to be gone.
Mm.
But this, believe it or not, you can eat this. And this is another good staple, and it's used for a lot of different things.
Okay.
I recently found out I started making some homemade cheese because I had a friend that was bringing me some organic milk with cream. And so I thought, I'm going to start making cheese. And some of the rennet that you buy, to make cheese, the rennet that you buy is unclean. So you have to buy certain rennet to, make cheese. So I just recently found this out. You can make rennet from the sting and nettle. And I actually have a jar in my refrigerator. I should have gotten it out. What rennet does is it clumps the cheese, like it makes it clumpy,
Okay.
and that's what the rennet does. But it gets rid of heavy metals. A while back, we had found out that we had been around some heavy metals. So I started making some of this and drinking. You can cook it, and then you can take the juice of it and put it in smoothies. Or you can eat the leaves after it's cooked. You can eat it raw. Do not eat raw. You're going to have those nettles.
Mm.
But believe it or not, after it's cooked, there's no more nettles, and it tastes like spinach. And it has iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium, vitamin B, vitamin E, zinc, A, and C in it.
Wow.
And it ups our bile flow too, which is a good thing.
I want to quickly go back to, because I know that some of our viewers they hear you say the word unclean, and they're gonna think that dirty kind of thing. So that's not what you meant by that.
No. What I meant was some cheeses that are made aren't biblically clean, because they'll use a lot of cheeses, they use like the pork lard in it, in the rennet is what they use to make cheese.
Okay.
They can use beef, they can use vegetarian,
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I made rennet from the sting and nettle that'd be a vegetarian rennet.
Okay.
If you look on cheese when you buy it in the store, it will say there's cultures and enzymes. So you always have to find out from the cheese company what they're using at that given time, and they keep changing because the world is changing and things are getting more expensive. Now, a lot of the cheeses are starting to use the vegetarian rennet. But you really have to call them to find out. And a lot of Italian cheeses do use the pork rennet.
I just wanted to make that clear to people that
Yes.
not
Yes.
know what we're using that term. Okay.
Right.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's blow.
Okay, so the next one I actually have this from my yard.
Okay.
And
Can you stop
it's right
sharing?
there. It's the crepe myrtle.
Okay.
And it's neat because it's one of the 4 species, the myrtle, one of the 4 species. And believe it or not, we can eat this. even I just found out we can eat the berry. It gets these little berries on after the flowers fall off.
Mm-hmm.
You can put these berries and make a tea out of it.
Oh,
And the crepe myrtle is really good for a lot of different things. Hold on. Till I get to my paper here. And everybody's heard of like myrtle tinctures and all that too, you know.
mhm.
So you can make tinctures out of things. But you can eat all of the plant. You can make tea out of it, you can make tinctures out of it, and it is just so good for so many different things.
Mhm.
I wouldn't call it a staple like the other two, but this is good for, you know, it
Yeah.
has antioxidants in it. It has to get rid of fungus. It's antimicrobial. So
You
there
know,
you can
I'm
eat
I'm
some.
looking at these things and I always look at things from a like a you know, a wilderness point of view, or being lost out there in the wilderness, or having to, you know, if you have to flee, you have to bug out, you know, and just learning about these things. But I again, it's like I feel like I have to learn and really know. And I feel like I need a little book, like a little booklet that
Take
I could
with.
stick in my backpack, that I could go like, okay, is this the, you know, and I'm sure there probably is a little pamphlet or something out there. But anyway, think of
Like
that,
I said,
because that might be a
eh,
way for you to put something
like I
out there.
said, you shouldn't just try to eat anything, you know, because
Right,
some things look alike, you know. And
right.
crepe myrtle though is probably in mostly all of the states.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so there should always be maybe somebody with you that uh knows what they're looking for.
Yeah, and there might not
Oh, yeah.
be.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yes.
you kind of start learning it before you'd have to use it, you know, at least, you know how I learned? I chose like 3 different ones and I thought, now I'm going to learn this to see if I can find these, you know. And the one that I told you there, that one really you should try to learn because that is like a staple.
The
That means
Rumex. You mean the Rumex?
Rumex, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good advice too, because again, I'm still overwhelmed hearing about all these things, but to pick one, like that's why I said, I think somebody said about trying one thing a week or one thing a month, whatever it is,
Yeah,
however long it takes you.
that was a
to-
good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to just learn, and so that you're confident. And that's how I need, like, we need to be confident that we can eat these things, because
yeah.
we're not we're not trying to die out there. We're not, you know,
Right.
if we're leaving our, if we have to leave our safe place, if we have to leave our homes, and or we're out and we're lost in the wilderness, we're not trying to die from what's out there. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, good advice. Start learning it now. Okay,
Yeah.
so you would go to the next one.
For the next one.
All right.
Okay. So believe it or not, cranberries don't just live in bogs. They're in Pennsylvania and some of the other states, there are cranberry trees, and I have one, a huge one in my yard.
Oh,
For the most part, these type of cranberry trees do get pretty big. Um, let's see, I probably mine probably is like 15 feet tall right now.
wow.
Now, because we're in the fall, I can't show you the cranberries, but they'll get these little red berries, and I tell you what, they taste just like cranberries. And this is so good for you too, because the cranberries themselves, you can use it for urinary problems. It's high in vitamin C. Let's see, where's my notes here on that one?
You know, I wish I had, I do have a picture somewhere, but I wish I had it prepared ahead of time. There's one, there's a whole lot of these red berries that I see on the trail. In fact, I asked a couple of people if they knew if they were edible. Um, I wish I could, I probably can show you, but
There are a lot of bushes that have red berries on, and you have to watch the red berry bushes.
right.
That red berry almost does look like what this gets, but this one, go by the leaves, and it's not a bush, it's actually a tree.
It's
See
an
how
actual tree. Okay.
the leaf is made? Um, those red berry bushes, a lot of them are poisonous, and they're only for the birds.
Well, I'm wondering because I was thinking, there's a lot of deer in the area and they're still on the bushes, and then why are they not eating them? They must not be. Yeah, this is the one that
Yeah.
let's see if I can send it to you or I can open it. Can't do it here. Okay. So are we ready for the next one?
Yep. Go to the next one.
All right.
Okay. This is fleabane.
I recognize
Has
these.
an odd name. It kind of looks like a small daisy. And this is so good for lung problems. The flowers themselves, you can put them in salads. It helps mucus. The only thing is, as we talked about before, there's some things some people shouldn't eat. And if you have an allergy to like ragweed and that, you probably shouldn't eat this.
Okay.
But that's, there's a lot to know. It's just like, what I tell everybody about oils and herbs and edible wild plants. It's just like pharmaceuticals.
Mm,
You have to know what people can eat things, and also a lot of these things pregnant women can eat. So
okay.
that's another thing to remember when you're studying this.
Huh.
But anyways, this one, if you're allergic to ragweed, you shouldn't eat it. But this is very good for lungs. And we tried it out. We put it on salad the one night, and it was when my husband was having all those lung problems. And you know what? He was real good after. It takes away the mucus.
Wow.
Once in a while I get allergies, not so much anymore since I've been, really eating the maker's diet and eating right. But
Mhm.
sometimes you do if you're out around something, or, and I ate one of these, because I just felt like, oh, there's something in my throat, and ate one, and whatever it was, it dried it up right away.
Wow.
But it looks like a little tiny flower, and it's so pretty. They're still out. I just took this picture today, so the flowers are still out. They can get tall. They can get up to 3-4 feet tall, or it can be just real low to the ground.
Okay.
And they call it fleabane.
Wow. Okay. I'm actually sending myself this picture so that maybe I can pull it up that you can take a look at if it comes to me. Okay. I love that. That's beautiful. I like that one. All right.
And then this is the good old yucca plant. Now, like I said, we're in the fall, so the flower itself is no longer on, and most people know what a yucca plant is. They get those huge 3-4 foot stems with those big, like lily looking flowers. You can find this in the wild. You can eat almost the whole plant, the root, the leaves, the flowers, and it gets these pods on it. There's pods that come on it. Not right now, it didn't have it on because of the fall. Now it's late in the season.
Okay.
But the pods, I've already cut them up and marinated them in with like a marinade, or put it in with a salad. And they're so good. I mean, it has like it's kind of a bittersweet taste kind of thing. You can use it like in place of a celery. And another thing you can do with the pods, you can dry them, and then you can pulverize them, and it makes like a powder. And that's high in vitamin C. Like if you're out in the wild, we're going to need vitamin C. We're not going to be able to get fruit.
Right.
So you have to find different sources of vitamin C. So that's another good thing to have. Now, You can find these in like in Pennsylvania in the wild, but for the most part, people grow them. And just about everybody I know has one, like, and once they start growing, like we try to pull these out and they spread, these things spread,
Do they?
but they're a good source of food.
Wow. You know, Faye, I think you mentioned in the last, in our part one about you're, maybe wanting to open up a cafe. I think you should do it. I think, oh, this stuff all sounds so good to me. I would
Like all
love that.
edibles, right?
Oh, I would love that.
I would
I,
love it
I'm
too.
trying to bring that picture, but I can't get it over there. So, and I know we're running out of time, but
Okay.
okay.
I just have one more thing I'm going to throw in because I think this is important.
That's
Um, yeah, there was one more picture, but we will do
oh,
that another time.
okay.
But this I want to show you because they had brought it up on the last video, but we never did talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
These are rose hips.
Yes, I knew that. I learned those. Oh, I'm so proud of myself.
Yes. And you know what? There's you can get these anywhere, even in the wild, because there's rock roses, they're called. And these are such high in vitamin C also if we don't have, like if you can't find berries, say it's the end of the season and the berries are over,
Yeah.
you can eat these, you can dry them, you can make a tea, just throw them in a hot water and make a tea, but this is high in vitamin C. You
Wow.
can make lotion out of it, maybe you
Mhm.
have some kind of skin problems. It also helps, roses help soothe you, you know,
Don't they
and but
put
for
that,
the most part,
don't they put that in vitamin C?
yeah,
Or,
there is some, well, some rose hips vitamin C is made from rose hips. You're
okay.
correct.
I know, I
Yeah,
saw that. Okay.
yeah. And now's the time of year you go and collect them, and I see them all over now because of the rock roses that grow and that. I mean, there's so many. You can get them in the woods, you can get them,
Hmm.
and that's another staple.
Okay. Wow.
And this helps diarrhea too.
Oh,
If you
does
have
it?
out of diarrhea, rose hips helps diarrhea. I make a tincture out of it. And if you get diarrhea, boy, you take 1 teaspoon of it and it's gone. But if you're out in the wild, you would probably just eat it if you were sick in your stomach.
Yeah. See, I like for people that have a lot of allergies, like to, no, maybe they don't even know what they are. Maybe just a different allergy, like hay fever and all that stuff. Like, I hate to use my mom again as an example, but she's always had a lot of allergies. And, if I'm kind of like hesitant to give her something like that because I don't know how she's going to react to it, you
The
know?
rose hips, I think, would be okay. It's more or less like leaves and some of the berries that you'd have to be
Yeah.
worried about
Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
in elderly. But I think the rose hips, that really doesn't really have reactions to a lot of people.
Hmm.
That would be okay.
Okay. All right.
I'll
So,
have to give you some. I'll give you a little tincture and you can just start out when she needs it with a tiny little bit,
mhm.
see what happens. But it shouldn't do anything.
Well, and I want to say just like, and I definitely will be listing this. Do you want to, how about if you just give us a closing statement, some summarized thing? What do you want to say to close this? This has been really fascinating. Thank you.
I want to thank Donna and Thurston for the business they have and promoting everything that everybody should be doing right now and skills and learning things in these times. Because you never know in emergency situations what we're all going to need. And if it might feel overwhelming to some people, but like we all said, if you just take 1 or 2 points and know that to help someone else or help yourself, I just thank you for what you're all doing. And we're all learning together. We're all gleaning together. We
Yes, we
learn
will.
from one another. And if we don't get this word out, then nobody's learning. So we want to get true knowledge and wisdom, first from Elohim, our God, you
Mhm.
know, but we need to learn from one another because these are things that are coming back now other than going to the store. So we always have an option.
Mm,
Instead of plan A, you can no longer go to the store. You need to have plan B. And
mhm.
there's things that you can do, for health,
Right.
for people like that maybe don't have insurance, you know. And one thing I did want to throw in, I started out with over 100 allergies. And from doing the maker's diet and uh, doing all these things, I think I'm down to 2 or 3 allergies. So your body eventually gets rid of those allergies when you're putting into your body and your cells are getting better.
Mhm.
You get better and you
Yeah.
don't have all the allergies like you used to have. So I praise
Yeah.
God that He showed me these things so I'm not having to live in my latitude of life, which I'm in.
Mhm.
I'm retired, having a million, not a million,
Yeah.
hundreds of allergies.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow, I didn't know that about you. Well, thank you, Faye. That and it just that's perfect, really. And that's what we say all the time when we put out these videos. We don't know it all. Even none of the classes that we don't, I mean, we're presenting the information that we have, but there are so many others out there that, we're trying to encourage others to come together, share the knowledge. This is not something that you should be keeping to yourself. So thank you so much for that. I just want to, again, I'm gonna make this disclaimer that we're not doctors. We're not suggesting that, you just go out and do these things that we're talking about just as medicines or anything like that, because we know that that won't be going over very well with what we're doing on this channel. So, but we just start investigating on your own, get those books and start. I mean, there's all kinds of information out there. Really, really appreciate you, Faye. Thank you for hanging in there for part 2. I know we're going to have more. We're going to definitely come back and do some more recordings in this area. So everybody, thank you. Don't forget to go to Facebook, Worldwide Academy Training Services, Worldwide Academy Training Services Emergency Preparedness Group, our pet first aid group, we have that, and also Instagram. And please share these with your friends and your family. If you really care about your friends and family, then you would want to get this information to them. And I think that, again, we've said this numerous times, it doesn't matter how bad it's going to get, or if we end up being in a lull of things when people get relaxed, when things get easier and better, but you always have to be prepared. So start learning now. It's never too late. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Faye, for
You're
being
welcome
here.
for
And
having.
we'll see you all. I don't know what the next discussion is going to be. So we'll see. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care. Ciao.